Hey everybody, it's Jordan here. Welcome to What About the Game. Today I'm going to be talking about Tallowmere on the Nintendo Switch. Tallowmere is a roguelike 2D action game from a one-man team, Chris McFarland. It was released on PC in 2015, the Wii U last year, and Teon have taken up duties to port and publish it here on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I already mentioned it's a roguelike game, which I'm sure a good few of you are already kind of sick of these days. It seems like indie games are all about being roguelikes, and even though I do love a good roguelike if done well, I too am feeling a little bit of the fatigue. It seems like the go-to choice of genre for many indie developers. The first thing you'll note is that the story isn't even attempted. You're instantly dropped into a mysterious dungeon to prove yourself to the Lady Tallowmere. You're dropped into a room full of random people, one of which is the titular lady. I'll get to what these people do later, but the main focus is on picking up the nearby key and opening the dungeon where you'll take on your quest. The controls are odd to say the least. Well, the jump is. The developer has purposely gone for a comically extreme basicness to how the game functions, almost like a parody of a badly programmed game. It works though. It's the jumping that's the strangest, for the fact that you can jump as many times as you want mid-air, giving you the chance to perpetually stay airborne, Flappy Bird style. It's bizarre but very much needed for how the dungeon's laid out, where you have to reach high places, avoid spiked floors and walls and so on. As the dungeon is full of monsters that must be eliminated, you also have a weapon to attack with. You always start the game with a measly axe that the character holds humorously over his head. You can spam the attack button as much as you want against the highly varied enemies. Your axe's usefulness won't last you particularly long. You can open chests to find new equipment, or pay a premium at your home base to the merchant, or even rescue one mid-dungeon and get a bit of a discount. There's quite a nice variety of weapons to play around with. The aforementioned axe, a katana which teleports you around mentally slashing at everything, there's a flamethrower, grenades, and my personal favourite, the ice wand. They are completely different gameplay wise, which is to the game's credit, and none seem to be a clear step up from one another. Variants on each are also present. Not all axes are the same, some have better stats and abilities, and you can generally tell how good a weapon is through its rarity rating. To go hand in hand with weapons, you'll also be equipping armor, helmets, and maybe the most important of them all, the shield. The shield can be used with the ZR button and is vital for progressing in the game. As you start out with only 10 health points at the beginning, leveling up doesn't give you too much and enemies get more and more numerous and stronger as you go. Being able to protect yourself is very important in Tallowmere. You're still going to take damage though at points, since enemies can be brutal. If you're finding things really tough, like I did, you may want to head up to the upper part of your home base where a basket of 9 kittens lay. Sacrificing one kitten will grant you 10 extra health points, so if you really want, you can start your run through the game with 100 health. While this is tempting, it does segregate you to a different leaderboard with the other 9 kitten shamers. While I thought it was nice to include something like that, I only tried it once before I decided to play it the way it was designed to be played. From then on, I didn't take advantage of the kittens, and I always went in with just 10 health points. Needless to say, I found it difficult, rarely making it through a dozen rooms before succumbing to the enemies. As a roguelike, it is wholly unforgiving in this department. You are sent straight back to zero, everything lost. A harsh reality, but it's the essence of the genre. I'm pretty sure many of you will hate this because there really is no save progression at all. Rather than being completely alone throughout your run, there is usually a teleporter in every one which takes you back to your home base for a heal. In theory, you can abuse this assist as much as you want to slowly defeat all the enemies at a steady pace, killing one, heading back for a heal, go back to kill another, go heal, and so on. As you make your way through the different rooms, they get larger and more populated by enemies, and so by the time you get past the 10th room, things can start to go a little crazy as different enemy varieties gang up on you, making it difficult to use specific tactics to deal with each one. You'll even come across boss battles on occasion, so it does offer surprises once in a while. I found these little surprises, as well as the randomly generated nature of the game, to make it quite addictive. Every time I died, I just wanted one more go, every time. The simplicity of it all helps too. There's no grind or slog to get back anywhere. You're just always there, straight back into the action. One interesting point about Tallowmere is that up to 4 players can play together cooperatively. Now, due to time constraints, I only had the chance to play with one other person, which is a shame because 4-player looks absolutely mental, almost like a party game. What I did notice though is that it seemed to be a little easier to play with another person, so this may be a good option for players to help out other gamers with less experience. I also found it slightly a bit confusing in how to let more players join in. I'd assumed they could just join in arcade style, but no. You need to go into the menus and select a new game, specifically for multiplayer. Not an issue really, but just a heads up for those who may be a little confused too. The worst thing about Tallowmere by far is the art style, which is incredibly dark, dull and repetitive. This doesn't appear to change at all through your playthrough. The animations of the character, I guess, is supposed to be comical, but it just looks unfinished. Everyone moves like they're a character from South Park, and I'm not a fan of that. It doesn't take away from the gameplay though, which is obviously the main thing. Going hand in hand with the visual presentation is the audio. Thankfully it's much better than the visual side of things, with some nice tunes. Overall, Tallowmere is an unforgiving example of an already unforgiving genre. It's the boiled down essence of a roguelike, which as a gamer you will either love or hate. I found Tallowmere to be a good example too. It had a lot of good things about it. It's simple yet has depth, there's no fluff and it's addictive. There's not much else to ask for in a roguelike. Some may lament the lack of story, the poor visuals and the exaggerated amateur looking mechanics, and those may want to look elsewhere. Those wanting a solid no-nonsense roguelike will definitely get a fill from Tallowmere. Okay guys, if you've enjoyed this review then be sure to like and subscribe, that'll help me out so much. You can read the full review of Tallowmere at whataboutthegame.com, and you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter if you want to. All the links are below. Thanks guys, bye bye.